Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to the 32nd race of Season 7 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Doritos 500 at Ontario Motor Speedway as we're getting set for racing once again at this 2.5 mile rectangular racetrack. That's better than the Brickyard. Just gonna point that out there for you. But anyways, as you got to see the points recap and the starting lineup, a little reminder of the front row. Zach Rogers is on the pole for today with James Shelley starting next to him. But let's get the command to fire engines for Doritos 500 at Ontario.
Drivers, start your engines.
All 40 drivers rolling around the racetrack for the pace lap here at Ontario, but a little reminder of the rest of the top 10 in the starting lineup. Seth Cole starting in third, with Jesse Turner to his outside to complete row 2. Row 3, we have Ricky Carmen and Ryan Acosta. Row 4, it looks like it's Alyssa Drayson and Hannah Klein, and then row 5, Kyle Matthews and Johnny Gardner. But yes, as I pointed out, yes, this is the 32nd race of the season. We're getting closer and closer to the end of Season 7 and to determine who's going to be the Season 7 champion. As right now, the most likely candidates to battle it out for the championship are the drivers in the top 3 in points. Dylan Jacobs leading by 10 over Jay Jefferson and 23 over Matt McIntyre. Then you got a few long shots who are back there in the top 5 or so in the points, like DJ Curtis and Joshua Sekuli, who are 56 and 66 points back respectively. And we got a lot of interesting tracks coming up, 4 completely different types of tracks. We got Richmond coming up later this week, then we return to Talladega, then it's a final road course stop at Lime Rock, and then the season finale at Kansas. So we got a short track, a super speedway, a road course, and an intermediate track coming up to settle out this season. Pace car is now in the pit road, so ladies and gentlemen, you know what that means. You are correct, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to boogity 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 go racing. Close at the line, but it was Seth Cole who led the first lap over Zach Rogers, but Rogers trying to take the lead back in hopes he can lead a lap to get that valuable extra bonus point. As we saw all the traffic in turn 2 right there. But yes, this track, from what I can remember from the first time we went here earlier in the season, we saw quite a bit of racing and a little bit of pit strategy and maybe even a wreck or two happen in this race last time, so I don't know if we're going to get a repeat of that or if we're going to see a few of the aspects come into play. I'm not sure, but Zach Rogers will actually finally get to lead a lap here today at Ontario, so that's big for him. But earlier I brought up the drivers in the point standings. Here comes fourth in points, DJ Curtis, who's looking to score big and get closer to the championship battle. As, like I pointed out, he came into this race 56 points out of the points lead, and DJ trying to close that deficit down excuse me, in hopes of scoring his first Marvel Studios Cup Series crown. But meanwhile, Jessica Sheldon has just taken this lead, and wow, Curtis lost a ton of spots in turn 3 and then turn 4 because he got stuck on the outside line, which is really slow for some people. Some people can make it work, others not so much. But right now, Jessica Sheldon holds on to the top spot, but here comes Raphael Fireblade in the 52. Dove it in there and barely got his fender underneath the quarter panel of Sheldon, and is more than likely going to take the lead. And also following behind, couple of Young Motorsports teammates, Dylan Young and Zachary Fitzwater, kind of working together to work their way up through the field. Fitzwater kind of giving a bit of like a draft help to Dylan Young to try and get the lead for himself. And Dylan Young right now goes by Mr. Fireblade, but Fitzwater, oh, it looked like he was going to go underneath to make the pass to take the lead for himself, but decides, you know what, let me help my boss out a little bit, get him a lap led, and then I'm going to go for it. And right there, Dylan Young led the lap, but Fitzwater's going to try and take the lead for himself. Then right behind is Jordan Forbes. Now, Jordan Forbes, he's been on a bit of a momentum streak as of late, getting a couple of very good finishes, moved up a couple of spots after our previous race, which was at the Denver Road Course, moved up to 23rd in points, and he just would like to finish top 20 in points to close out Season 7. But he will be back in that same number and the same team next season for Season 8. So we'll see how he does in his junior season, so to speak. Raphael Fireblade, in what perhaps might be his only season of Marvel Studios Cup Series competition, he got a good run at the Denver Road Course last week, but still in the bottom half of the point standings, 34th. But he's definitely looking to get somewhere here today, here at Ontario. And he actually goes down underneath to try to get up to second. But look at Chris Dollarton, going to make it 3 wide, almost 4 wide. Dylan Young thought about making it 4 wide. And Jordan Forbes actually had to slip up into the wall a little bit to give room. Because, yeah, they were attempting 4 wide in turn 3, and I don't know how they didn't all just crash right there. But regardless, Zachary Fitzwater still hanging on to the lead, and I believe, yeah, he's the only driver in the race so far to lead more than 1 lap. And actually, I've just noticed, I see Melissa Alexander up here around the top 10. I believe she started in the very last row next to her husband Joey Parkhill, and she's already moved her way up through into the top 10, top 15 or so. So it's just all about making the right moves when it comes down to crunch time and knowing how to race this track. Meanwhile, as Fitzwater starts pulling away as drivers behind him continue to race it out for the second spot, and Raphael Fireblade finally clears Dylan Young to get up to second. As you got a bit of a cluster behind Raphael Fireblade. You got Chris Dollarton, Dylan Young, Jessica Sheldon, Kyle Matthews, Jesse Turner, all battling it out, but now it's about to get settled out as Dollarton finally gets away from Dylan Young and is going to take third. As it's starting to calm down a little bit up here at the front of the field. As Zachary Fitzwater is hoping he can continue to pull away with the lead, but considering you got Fireblade and Dollarton now pulling away from 4th on back, they might be able to catch the 12 in hopes of making it a 3-car battle for the race lead. Although Chris Dollarton's going to pull out of line, trying to maybe make a move going into turn 1. And then Jesse Turner going to pull out of line, so it's going to be 3 wide, but Fireblade actually using the momentum on the outside to keep the second position. So the outside line in the turn 1 at least kicked in a little bit. Turn 2, not so much, from what I've seen right there on that lap. But we're getting close to the halfway point. You gotta wonder about pit stops, because I put pit frequency to 3x for this race, as Fireblade almost got wrecked by Jesse Turner, as Jesse Turner's working his way up through the field. Oh, but the pit stop, so this tells me perhaps there's going to be close on gas for a lot of people, is about half of the field coming in the pit road, half of them staying out another lap in hopes that they can stretch out their fuel tanks to make themselves stay out on a one-stop race. Others had to pit on lap 8 going into lap 9, others just now on lap 9 going into lap 10, so something tells me these drivers like Fitzwater and company may not make it on fuel to the rest of the way and may have to pit one more time. But with the drivers that are still out on the track, like Artur Castanha, who's actually now the leader, maybe these guys could be in the catbird seat, as these guys stayed out an extra lap on lap 10 right on the halfway point, so they could make it the rest of the way on a one-stop race, whereas everybody else, probably not so much. But here comes everybody else that did not pit on the previous lap, including the leader, Artur Castanha. As I'm looking around to see who got out at what point, there's Zachary Fitzwater, who hands down got out ahead of everybody off of pit road. And there's Artur Castanha, and it looks like he's going to go with 4 tires and fuel as all this is going on. And I don't even see Zachary Fitzwater yet in the frame, so I don't know. Let's see if I can find him. There he is, all the way still in turn 4. So perhaps Castanha might be able to keep the lead if he can get up to speed in time off of pit road. I don't know, it's going to be close, as Fitzwater is just now across the start-finish line. Looks like Fitzwater actually, Fitzwater is going to cycle around as the race leader once again. But does Fitzwater have enough fuel to make it to the end? That's the big question everybody's got on their mind right now, because, like I pointed out, he pitted on lap 9 going into lap 10, so he may be short on fuel by a lap or two, whereas Artur Castanha and those who pitted with him might be good to go on gas, or at least can save a little bit to make sure that they can make it on a one-stop race. But now we're about to do an updated full field rundown as everybody's getting settled out in their respective positions after the pit stops have concluded. But Zachary Fitzwater, currently the leader. Second is Jesse Turner. Third is Matt McIntyre. Fourth is Artur Castanha. Fifth is Chris Dollarton. Sixth is Jonathan Zorlane. Seventh, Jessica Sheldon. Eighth, Raphael Fireblade. Ninth, Joey Parkhill. And then 10th is Johnny Gardner. 11th is Caleb Kilburn. 12th, Zach Rogers. 13th is Jordan Forbes. 14th, Raphael Leduc. 15th, Dylan Young. 16th, Melissa Alexander. 17th, Seth Cole. 18th, Clint Spillman. 19th, Julia Katrine. 20th, Kyle Matthews. 21st, Jay Jefferson. 22nd, Cole Deaver. 23rd, Joshua Sekuli. 24th, Michael Norman. 25th, James Qualls. 26th was Jake Rogers. 27th, Alyssa Drayson. 28th, Henry Sanford. 29th, Carson Gum. 30th, Dylan Jacobs. 31st, Cody Lamas. 32nd, Ricky Karaman. 33rd, Rob Evans. 34th, James Qualls, James Shelley, excuse me. And then 35th is Charles Sanford. Then the bottom 5 currently: 36th is Cole Baker, 37th, Hannah Klein, 38th, Benjamin Miles, 39th, DJ Curtis, 40th, Ryan Acosta. Back up at the front, Zachary Fitzwater still hanging on to a pretty big lead, 3.2 seconds over, if I can even get to him. There he is, Artur Castanha, who might be the guy who might be able to win this race on fuel mileage, because he pitted later than Zachary Fitzwater. But I mean, I don't know, and it seems like the whole field is like separated into different packs. Like right here you see about 3 different packs of cars that are racing it out. I almost am beginning to think perhaps Zachary Fitzwater might have went with 2 tires and fuel, that or he just had a better pit road exit than everybody else to the reason why he has such a big lead right now. But regardless, he actually lost a little bit of time that previous lap to Artur Castanha. Artur's trying to close in on the 12. So that way, when or if Fitzwater has to come to pit road, he can be right there to go by him. But now he's about to lose a couple of spots as Jessica Shelton making a run for the 2nd position. And actually, Artur's going to lose a few spots in the process as Matt McIntyre, who's currently the highest running driver in the top 5 in points, he was 23 points out of the points lead that Dylan Jacobs had coming into the race today. So, and Dylan Jacobs I last saw was scored 30th. Let's see where he was scored last time. Actually, Dylan Jacobs is actually slowly working his way back up through the field into the top 20, I believe, now. So, perhaps Dylan Jacobs trying to get some position so he can at least maintain the points lead, because right now he is ahead of 2nd in points, Jay Jefferson, but Matt McIntyre's all the way up there in the top 3 or so. Oh, but we got an incident as Zach Rogers about got turned. He, Johnny Gardner, and Dylan Young had some contact, but no caution and no wreck occurred, so we got pretty lucky right there with all of that. Very, very lucky to say the least, but they are going to lose quite a bit of ground as, look at Dylan Jacobs still, he and Jay Jefferson, who have been top 2 or top 3 in points for the past several weeks. These guys are almost made for each other to race it out for something. And I got no idea where Jacobs would be scored currently. I think maybe 18th, if that. As Zachary Fitzwater still leads the way. We got a big battle going on for 2nd. Jesse Turner trying to take the position away from Joey Parkhill. And Rafael Fireblade going to try and make it 3 wide for 3rd going into turn 1. And as a result of that, Jesse Turner is going to pull away from them for a little bit, but actually lost some ground to Zachary Fitzwater. But now we're getting to that danger zone point. Oh, we got a caution! Caution is out! Looks like an incident involving Cole Deaver and Hannah Klein, perhaps. Caution is out, and the race is going to end under caution. But still, the question remains, does Fitzwater have enough fuel to even coast it under pacing to the checkered flag? I don't know. This is going to be really interesting to find out. And we're going to find out momentarily, as real quick, we're going to take a look at the replay of what brought the caution out for the first and only time today here at Ontario. Well, here's a look at what happened. So this was going into turn 1 right here, and Jake Rogers is right there to try to make it 3 wide. Dove it in there, and I'm not sure if he came up or if Deaver tried to block, but in the end, Deaver gets turned and goes rear end first into the outside wall, and that was actually a pretty hard hit for the 8th. And then right there, a little contact between Kyle Matthews and Alyssa Drayson as they both tried to miss the 8, and they did an excellent job of not causing more chaos, to say the least. But I don't know, could somebody have hit Deaver as he was sliding? Or maybe not, because Deaver finally gets it straight and is trying to get going, but I don't know. Let's watch. Oh, Hannah Klein barely goes by. I thought she was involved in whatever had happened, but no, she manages to avoid it all. But a single car spin caused by a little bit of blocking, a little bit of dive bombing, a combination of the two, what have you. But let's go ahead and take you to the restart. Well, not the restart, but what could be an interesting final lap here at Ontario. We are back underway here at Ontario, and yes, just as I suspected, Fitzwater could not make it on fuel to the end. So, a bunch of drivers are going to sacrifice good runs and even a win, and it looks like as if Jesse Turner is going to be the one to win this race now, because he's the leader and more than likely is going to be able to coast it, or not coast it, but make it to the end, unless even he starts to run out. I don't know, it's going to be an interesting final lap here, even though it's under caution. Staying put with all this, as, yes, Fitzwater, who was en route to tying not only Jay Jefferson this season, but the overall series record for most wins in a single season at 4, unfortunately could not make it, and has had to come to pit road as a result of everything that just went down. But Jesse Turner, and all he's got to do is just maintain pace speed, not have to pit, and he will get his 3rd win this season and of his career. As we're going down the back straightaway to go into turn 3 here in any moment. But yeah, it's been a little while since we've had something like this happen where people had to come to pit road under caution at the final laps of the race. And then the race ending under caution with even a little bit of fuel mileage still in consideration. But we're about to find out if Jesse Turner is going to be able to still make it and win this race. And from the looks of it, nobody's coming in the pit road out of the drivers that did not pit. So it looks like it's all a safe bet as we're getting ready to come off of turn number 4 for the final time here today at Ontario in what was an interesting race, to say the very least. And the checkered flag is getting ready to wave, so we all know what that means. Checkered flag waving here at Ontario. Jesse Turner wins his 3rd race of the season and of his career, wins the Doritos 500 at Ontario. In what has got to be probably one of the most unique finishes we've had in quite some time. So Jesse Turner, 3 wins of his career and of the season, might be able to get him back into the top 10 in points, to say the very least. But let's take a look at the rest of the results. Artur Castanha will come through with a solid performance in 2nd, and he was pretty much top 5 from the moment that he stayed out during the first round of pit stops and then maintained himself towards the front throughout the rest of the race. Joey Parkhill, phenomenal run in 3rd, and I believe he started dead last and managed to get a 3rd place finish. Matt McIntyre going to gain a few points today on the points lead, but still gets a great run in 4th, and then Caleb Kilburn, solid top 5 in 5th. Much needed good run for Rafael Leduc in the 6th position. Dylan Young, despite nearly wrecking, finishing in 7th. Jay Jefferson gonna finish strong in 8th. Dylan Jacobs going to maintain the points lead as he finished 9th. And then rounding out the top 10 was Clint Spillman. And now drivers are starting to run out of gas, so they were 1 lap to the good, no doubt. But there's your top 20, your top 30, and then the rest of the field. And the bottom 5 for this week was Ryan Acosta, Seth Cole, Michael Norman, Johnny Gardner, and then we had one driver out of the race, and that was Henry Sanford, and I wasn't sure what happened with him. A tough break for those 5, as after Jesse got the fuel refilled to do the victory burnout, you are watching his victory burnout to celebrate here at Ontario. 4 races left, but next up, it's Richmond, baby. But until then, here are your results, rookie points and regular points heading into Richmond. This is Levi McIntyre, signing off.